years in the U.S. Army. His assignments have taken him to Germany, Korea, Canada, and many assignments in the United States. He has served 2 combat tours in Southwest Asia, including Operation Desert Storm and Operation Iraqi Freedom. He also served an operational tour in Macedonia in support of NATO operations in Kosovo. Colonel Spillman has a Master's of Science degree from St. Mary University, Leavenworth, Kansas, and a Master's of Science degree from the United States Air Force, Air War College. Colonel Spillman is currently the commanding officer for the 108th Air Defense Artillery Brigade stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Colonel Spillman and his wife Joanne have 4 grown children who reside in Kansas City, Missouri. Please join me in a round of applause for our guest speaker, Colonel Christopher Spillman.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What a tremendous honor and privilege it is for me to say a few words to our veterans, to the students of Girard, to other members of the community. My wife Joanne and I are thrilled to be here. In many respects, this is a homecoming for me. My family has deep roots in the Girard area. My grandparents and great-grandparents lived their lives here. My father, Alvin Spillman, was born and raised on a farm near McEwen. In fact, he attended Girard High School for a period of time, as well as my late aunts, Aunt Viola, my Aunt Nancy, and of course, there's my cousin Lisa Mankin, and Mrs. Mankin, the students here. So I have long roots here in the southeast Kansas region. And again, it's a privilege to be here. When I was a toddler, I lived here in Girard, Kansas for a couple of years. And so I feel like I'm at home when I come back to Girard to visit. So I'm very humbled to be here and say just a few words. Before I start, I want to thank Mr. Jerry Slaughter, the Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Blake Bauer, Principal of Girard High School, for extending the privilege of being here today. And of course, I really want to thank my cousin Lisa for asking me to speak on one of the most important holidays in America, and that's Veterans Day. This morning, I want to talk to you about Veterans Day and why I think it is so important to recognize our veterans, and in particular, what it means for our nation to set aside a day for those who have served in defense of freedom. I also want to take a few minutes to talk to you about the soldiers I lead at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and why they really are America's true treasure. Last weekend, I had the honor of representing Fort Bragg at a Veterans Day parade in a small town on the Atlantic coast, Morehead City, North Carolina. Now, for such a relatively small town, I was surprised to see a total of 230 participating organizations that marched along a 2-mile parade route. In the course of the parade were various civic organizations, Boy and Girls Young Troops, high school marching bands, vintage automobiles, motorcycle clubs, fire trucks, and various other groups that marched that day. In the parade, I saw a true sample of America, different ethnicities and races, politicians of various stripes, the old and the young, the well-to-do, the less well-to-do, and basically the average patriotic Americans. It was quite a spectacle. But the name that stood out the most was the stoic, mostly quiet, but clearly evident pride displayed among the veterans who either marched in the parade or stood on the side of the road watching the parade go by. These were veterans of the Second World War, the Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm, of course, veterans of the wars of Afghanistan and Iraq. Many will wear their old service uniforms, ball caps, or other apparel that indicated they had served their nation. In a couple of words, regardless of how they were dressed, what they displayed to me was quite simply pride and honor. Pride in having served, pride in having sacrificed, and pride in knowing that we live in a country where their service and sacrifice is highly respected, recognized, and rewarded by a grateful American public. And honor. Honor in knowing that in their service, they extend to all of us the continued blessings of freedom and liberty that have made and will continue to make America great and indeed exceptional. One long past President of the United States, California, once said, "The nation which forgets its defenders will be itself forgotten." Let's think about that statement for a moment. What Calvin Coolidge essentially said was that there is no value placed on the service of those who defend us. There is no value in the nation that sent them. And in essence, any such nation is better. To me, the idea that we are worth what we value is the reason why Veterans Day celebrations, like the one we're doing here today, is so important. Americans value our freedom and our way of life so highly that we are willing to put young men and women in harm's way to defend it. Throughout American history, we've sent young people, many from Georgia, Kansas, some of them are out here in the audience today, to distant shores and far-off lands, and in some cases to fight and die to secure our freedom and liberty. And of course, our actions in Iraq and Afghanistan and the sacrifices of our soldiers there continue to remind us of the high cost of war almost daily. I know I'm personally reminded often, as I've had a number of soldiers with whom I have served over the years who have been killed in combat in both Iraq and Afghanistan. So for me, Veterans Day is personal. It celebrates those who have stood in the defense of our freedom and extends a measure of gratitude and heartfelt thanks that can never be fully repaid, especially to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and gave their lives for the defense of the nation. This is why Veterans Day is such an important holiday in America. It is an opportunity to demonstrate and affirm the value we place in the service of our veterans, and also gives us the opportunity to thank them for their worthwhile service. So I ask you, if you see a veteran today, or any day for that matter, shake his or her hand and thank them for their service to America as they deserve it. Last point I want to make is that our nation, as we know, is continuing to produce a new generation of veterans, many of them combat veterans. I am privileged to command about 2,200 soldiers in my brigade. At Fort Bragg, in which about 300 are currently deployed to Afghanistan, with several hundred more headed to Southwest Asia next summer. My brigade is a Patriot Missile Defense Brigade that performs a very important mission for our nation. And I'm very proud to command the great troops assigned to my unit. As I interact with soldiers, I continue to be amazed at what they're able to accomplish. The mission of my brigade is very tough. We have to train hard and long, prepared to execute the tasks the Army asks us to perform. The weapon systems we operate are sophisticated and technically challenging to maintain. We ask a lot of our families. Many of my soldiers, I mentioned, are combat veterans who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. And most of the soldiers in my unit have been to the Middle East 2 or 3 times and some of them. They come from all over the country. Big cities, small towns, rural America, places just like North Kansas. And like the students here today, my soldiers are dedicated, eager to learn, and want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They join the Army for a host of reasons. Many joined because they needed a job. And they wanted to learn an occupation. Some needed college money. Many were simply looking for opportunity and adventure. And by the way, if you're looking for opportunity and adventure, there's no better place to go than the United States Army. Maybe that's what put them in a recruiter's office initially, but really the idea of becoming a soldier, and for some, a career soldier, came much later. Being a soldier grows on you. It becomes a way of life, a life that most really cherish. And as for me, I've been in uniform since I was 17 years of age, and I'm nearly 51 years old right now, so you can do the math. But frankly, I can't imagine doing much else. As I go around my unit, as I talk to soldiers, I'm always enlightened by their spirit, their bright eyes, their youthful exuberance, and their desire to do well, not for themselves, but for their fellow soldiers and their units. I often ask them about their families, what their loved ones think about them being in the Army. And I don't believe I've ever had an answer that was negative. Practically all have told me that their mothers and fathers and extended family are very proud of them. I see this pride in my regular travels as I go through airports where I often see many young 19 to 20-year-old soldiers in uniform traveling to and from Iraq and Afghanistan. It is humbling that average Americans taking the time to personally thank soldiers that they see in the airport or elsewhere for their service. I'm often approached by a mother or a father who want to tell me that their son or daughter is in the Army and how proud they are of them. Of course, I'm always humbled by this because our youth is our national treasure. We have to take care of it. The amount of gratitude expressed by the American public for our soldiers is indeed heartwarming. And I can't tell you how much it means to those of us who wear the uniform. In closing, and on behalf of our veterans and for our soldiers, sailors, and Airmen and Marines who have been serving today, I want to return the thanks. And I want to say thank you to the American public. Thank you to Girard, Kansas, for taking time to recognize those who have served in the past and those serving today. It means a great deal to all of us, and it reminds us of why we serve and of the great nation in which we live. Your unwavering commitment to and support for our troops is indeed one of America's greatest blessings. Again, thanks so much for inviting me to speak. God bless our veterans. God bless our troops.